Hi, I'm Annie Botticelli, and this is the Storyteller Forecast for Cancer for June 2018. Go to my website, anniehelpsyou.com, see what's new on my blog, and if you'd love to learn astrology, my Astrology Apprenticeship program will start enrolling June 1st. Hope to see you in my virtual classroom. So what's going on in this month of June? We have eclipse rumblings already. These major trajectory changes, dramatic closings, magical fruitions, new golden opportunities opening up that tend to come with these eclipses are starting in this month. So this is a big time. Twice a year we have eclipse season where we have sets of eclipses that tend to increase these changes and notable events that can be very life-changing. So we have 3 of those this month, 2 in July and 1 in August. I'm going to focus on where we're going to see that first solar eclipse, which happens to be in your sign at 20 degrees of Cancer. It's on July 12th, but we sometimes very often see manifestations from the eclipses 4 to 6 weeks before the actual eclipse. So June is very ripe territory for manifestation from this eclipse. So we're going to talk about in the June report where Cancers will see this energy coming up. In the July report, I'll talk about the July 27th lunar eclipse at 4, almost 5 degrees of Aquarius. And then in my August report, we'll talk about the partial solar eclipse at 18 degrees of Leo. So June, July, and August reports will cover the 3 eclipse energies and where you may see them manifest. Okay, so when we have eclipses, all of those things that I mentioned are more likely. When we have eclipses in our own sign, that is an even bigger deal. Okay, so if you have an eclipse in your sign, you're moving along this continuum of very radical change. And we've been seeing a lot of change and transformation for people with notable Cancer placements. So if your birthday is 20 days or so into the sign, or your rising sign is close to 20 degrees, you'll be impacted the most from this, or if you have any other Cancer placements near 20 degrees. But all Cancers are still have this increased, chance of this major theme, which I'm calling the true you. Cancers are getting closer to their true selves, not the selves that they put on the back burner to help other people, that they were not able to assert to their social groups or their parents or other things. The Cancer energy is really coming into its own in a very big way. And this eclipse is another piece of this establishing, this remembering, this defining, this showing of your true self. So while the solar eclipse often opens up new energies, sometimes something has to close in order for that new thing to be accessed or to be capitalized on or to be chosen. Also, since we have Mars retrograde, which starts June 26th, but we've been in the shadow of that since May 11th. So starting June 1st, we're deep into the shadow of Mars retrograde, which means that new things might have a basis in the past, okay? New opportunities for how you work, how you do things, how you show yourself in the world, how you do everything and anything, how you are with money, how you are with relationships, how you are with creativity, how you are with animals, how you are working with your spiritual path, how you are in groups. Any of those things has a massive chance to change in a big way. And of course, you early birthdays, happy birthday to you. You've got that added to this whole thing. So let me just come off of the eclipse focus just to do a bit on your birthday. Okay, if it is your birthday now or coming soon, remember you have 10 birthday wishes. You say them out loud, you write them down, you feel them as if they're coming true. You can watch my video called Making Wishes Come True using astrological power periods, but if you just search for Annie Making Wishes Come True on YouTube and on the Google search or whatever search, then you'll see my video for this, okay? And it will help you to use these birthday wishes, because birthday time is a very magical time where it's amazing to do vision boards. It's amazing to rewrite your life and put the energy out there, the seeds, plant the seeds for what you want to create. Okay, so back to these eclipses. So there's some similar energy around birthdays, right? This new rebirth. And so this energy of this true you coming out is bubbling out, and it's very effervescent now, and it can't be kept down anymore. Okay, so you'll see these possibilities, but again, they might have this tilt to the past because of this Mars retrograde. So this is not a time to push. This is a time to respond to the things that come to you. If you have to slip some last minute things in that absolutely have to be done or pushed out, I like the days in the beginning of the month, June 1st through 3rd. For that, we're further away from Mars actually going retrograde, and there's some beautiful energy with Venus at the beginning of the month. But for the most part, this is a time to start to hunker down. Now, this is true unless you have Mars retrograde at birth. People with Mars retrograde at birth might find that they turn up while everyone else is turning down. So just follow your flow. You know, if you're getting frustrated, which can be the theme of Mars retrograde, that's when you want to back off your agendas. Okay, if you wake up and you're in the flow and everything is just, you're ready to do things, then it may mean that you have that retrograde placement in your chart, or for some other reason you're a caveat to this story. But just pay attention, because the energy will show you if you're supposed to be backing off of something. Either you won't be interested, you'll be lazy or uninterested or lacking passion or lacking drive. Don't give yourself a hard time is one of the biggest things if you have that happen, because this is a time to rest and relax for most people. Okay, so this rebirth, this regeneration, this rediscovery of the true you. For the late degree placements, so basically the ones with the last 10 days of the birthday or the last 10 degrees of the sign, so like 20 to 29 degrees of Cancer, you might see this manifestation of the eclipse in your 12th house. Okay, so this 12th house has to do with your subconscious mind. It has to do with your dreams you have at night, your connections to people and other things that are beyond this realm, people who've passed over, other beings, etc., intuition. It can have to do with fears, addictions, and old things that have been forgotten purposely or by accident. So it's a time for finding riches. So you might have hidden things come to light. All of you, all Cancer placements might have these hidden things come to light. But there's this specific, especially for the later degree placements, this subconscious mind component, which may turn out to be true for all of you, because when things are on a line somewhere, the possibility for manifestation in either place can happen. But there's more of a focus on the mind aspect and mastering the mind and conquering fears. So these are the things that are most on my mind for Cancer placements. Now I want to talk more about Mars retrograde. I want to talk about my favorite days of the month, the travel possibilities, the recreation and recreation energies of the month. I want to talk about dates to look out for and other things to know about this month to make it the best. So I'm calling the theme of June 2018 for all signs, the magical act of releasing attachment, with a sub-theme or sub-themes of recreation and recreation. This abundance of air energy this month is going to bring a lot of restlessness, this need to move, variety seeking, the urge to communicate and connect will be very strong. And there will be many opportunities for this as well. So trips, travel near and far, sparkling conversations, chances to connect with people online and in person, a lot of busyness. People often notice when the sun is in Gemini and at this time of year, we've got a lot of busyness. You'll see that things are ramped up. You're here, you're there, you're moving around. There's lots of things that you're trying to pull together. And also interests and things can be coming up and could be all over the board. The urge to move and express will be increased from this energy, but for many people, the desire for movement will be towards recreation rather than productivity. And this is compliments of the impending Mars retrograde transit. We've been talking about this for a long time. I've been prepping you for this. And of course, you can look at my blog, Your Guide to Mars Retrograde, and you can look at my video on the topic. You can just put in Annie Botticelli Mars Retrograde, and you'll pull up my other resources to go deeper into this. But for the most part, for most people, ambitions start to wane. Okay, so the theme The key theme that occurs so much in Mars retrograde is frustration, but it doesn't have to be that way. That only happens if you're trying to go at your usual pace in that transit that's not wanting you to do that. So if you take cues from what's happening and you stop trying to force things, like dropping your agenda, this is one of the reasons why I'm calling this, the theme this month, the magical act of releasing attachment. If you drop your agendas, then you can flow more. If you give yourself permission to chill, then the odds of frustration will be much less because you're not trying to push up against this wall of energy that's pushing backwards. So there are some people, however, that have the opposite effect when Mars is in retrograde. Mars rules movement, and some people, and how you use your energy, it rules the assertiveness, that get up and go, your oomph. So if you were born with Mars retrograde in your natal chart, you might have the opposite effect when Mars goes into retrograde. You might be what some people might call lazy or laid back or not ambitious most of the time. But then something crazy happens, maybe you haven't known what it was until now, then Mars retrograde comes and you get lit up while everybody else is going the other way. So that's why I always say, above everything, you have to honor your own personal flow and your intuition when you're listening to horoscopes, because there are always caveats to the general things that we share through horoscopes. So in any case, I always like to give you the heads up, because if you notice yourself getting what you describe as lazy, and then you're trying to give yourself a hard time about it, you can make this month and this transit, which runs from the end of June to the end of August, but really it started May 11th when the shadow period started, and it goes through the beginning of October. This is a long time. So if you understand this is going on, it's more likely that you can give yourself permission to relax. And if you give yourself permission to relax, pure genius can come to you when you're in that relaxed state. The way I like to describe the magic that can happen with this energy is with a typical story. I know myself, I've heard many situations where, let's say a couple is trying to have a baby and they're having trouble getting pregnant, and there's so much stress and there's pressure and they're putting it on and they're worried, and all of this energy is going towards this certain outcome. Then when they make the decision to adopt, sometimes they get pregnant. And the doctors chalk it up as the stress was released from the venture, right? So this is the energy that I want you to remember during this time, because a massive amount of magic, a massive amount of inspiration can come from that quiet time, like the Shavasana at the end of a yoga session. That quiet little short time of integration, of rest, integrates all of the work done prior. And very often when Mars is in retrograde, work that you've done before comes to you. So this energy of being like a spider that's going to be a theme that continues for a while, where you've done work, now you're letting everything come to you, is a good one to follow. Now, if you do have some things that you have to push through, and you don't want to wait until December when we're done with Mars retrograde, then Mercury retrograde, then Venus retrograde, then there are some points here in June where you could do that. And my favorite days are right in the beginning of the month. But I'll go into more details about that. But if you do have some things that you have to push through and you feel that they're, intuitively it's time to do it, then you might be able to take advantage of that energy. Okay, so I really love this month for vacations, because this desire to rest and slack makes an increase in the possibility that you'll enjoy the vacation and you'll leave your worries and work behind. So if you are a traveler, or you're planning a trip, or you just like to read about travel stuff, you can check out my website, Astrology Kissed Travel Bliss, and I do monthly astrology travel reports so that you can understand some highlights as far as it relates to travel, and there are also fun blogs and inspiration for travel. There's a new moon on June 13th, and this is another increase in this opportunity for travel, adventures near and far, connecting with siblings, cousins, and other relatives, if you have to make a last minute purchase of a communication device, if you know that coming soon your car or your phone or something is due to get, if you're due to get a new one, this time around, you know, the beginning of the month or around this new moon of the 13th might be a good time to squeeze these things in, because Mars rules metal. And well, it's one of the, of course it's complicated, but things that are made of metal are under the rule of Mars. So buying machinery, utilizing machinery, and of course everything has metal in it, all of our devices. The energy is better for it when we're further away from the retrograde. So if you can help it, sometimes you might not be able to help it, in which case don't worry, just go with the flow. But if you know it's coming, you might want to take advantage of this this time in the middle of the month. So increasing your recreation time is a great goal. If you're going to have any goals during this time, it would be goals to have more fun, and goals to relax, and goals to take vacations, and even goals to study, but in a laid back, leisurely way. You know, this is a time that can greatly favor education, but especially in flexible programs that allow you to go at your own pace, so that if you turn out to lose some ambitions, that you're not penalized. If you're interested in education that feels more like a hobby rather than a stressful obligation, then it's very well indicated during this Mars retrograde, because we could see that as part of a focus on recreation. You might notice a slowdown in work, finances, romance, etc. But like I said, there is an amazing chance for you to reap rewards from the past. So things may slow down in some senses, but things from the past could come to fruition now without you even doing anything, and it might seem quite magical. If you have to do some work-related things, it's better to focus on clients from the past, ideas from the past, things like that, if at all possible. These retrogrades tend to make things get called into question. So things that were set or intended may drastically change form during this time, or become irrelevant or uninteresting. So just notice the cycle, you know, and just because something isn't, you know, kind of goes away from your energy field at this time, it doesn't mean it's forever. I know I personally have Aries rising, and Mars rules Aries, so I notice that I'm very much affected by this transit. Everybody's affected by it, but people with Aries and Scorpio placements, strong Aries and Scorpio placements, and you notice it more because Mars rules Aries and co-rules Scorpio. But I've noticed that I just love this energy, because it helps you to relax. And whenever this happens now, I plan my rests for this time. But if you didn't know that this were coming, you might think, wow, what is happening to me? I'm like this. So I feel like when Mars retrograde, like, wow, I'm never going to be ambitious again. That's so weird. And then as soon as Mars goes direct, I'm back to my normal ambitious self. You know, so it's just interesting to watch your own personal cycles with this. And as I mentioned before, you might have the opposite occur, and notice that too. Learning astrology and using astrology is one big experiment, you know, and the more you learn about what's going on and then you pay attention to your personal flow with that, the more you learn about the art and the science. Okay, so many people are going to be questioning many things in life, but there will be a special focus for the job, profession, life path, because of the time that Mars is going to spend getting back into Capricorn. And since it spends most of the time retrograde in Aquarius, this strong focus on reconsidering or considering for the future, defining or redefining projects or relationships involving nonprofits, humanitarian efforts, technology, and other futuristic innovations, groups, things having to do with groups and teams and friends and friendships and acquaintances, social circles, and social media are all within this Mars and Aquarius energy. You might notice a lot of push and pull between home and work, home and family, mother and father, because we have a notable amount of oppositions between the Cancer and Capricorn energy. So this can bring a lot of overstimulation between home and family and work and your place out in the world. Overstimulation doesn't necessarily mean bad or good. It's just that there are opposing forces that are both demanding equal and extra focus, which can make you feel torn. between these competing interests. But we do also have some great aspects with Uranus that can bring amazing insights and breakthroughs or happy surprises. So there are many times in this month where beautiful aspects are coupled with challenging ones. So good news and challenges could present simultaneously. You might see that going on. Okay, so the energy of this Cancer eclipse, we talked about where it would hit for you personally in your chart, but the general energy that everyone has this increased chance of experiencing is having to do with housing, home, and other family opportunities will likely be a dominating theme. There's something that a dermatologist said to me recently that I always wind up applying these random things to astrology, you know. So she said that there's an increase in skin cancer risk for people who have light-colored eyes, that there's something genetic about that relationship. Okay, so that doesn't mean that all people who have light-colored eyes are going to get skin cancer, and it doesn't mean that all people who don't have light-colored eyes are not. But this increase in probability is how I always frame astrology. There's an increase in probability of the things that these transits tend to bring. And it doesn't mean that everybody's going to experience these things that are common. It just means there's an increase in probability. You know, the odds are more likely, like on a day when the meteorologist says, rain is 90% today. Sometimes it doesn't rain, you know, but there's that increased chance. And that's what I want you to understand about the nature of these transits and the nature of these potentials. Okay, so I'm going to give you a couple of other dates to highlight this month. And if you want more details about dates and transits of note, then definitely go to my website, anniehelpsyou.com. Sign up for my free email newsletter. You can also sign up at cozybysweetstarlight.com, which is where I also have written horoscopes, cozybysweetstarlight.com. If you sign up at either of those places for my free newsletter, I write a monthly write-up with more details about these general transits in a written version a month ahead than I give in the video. Okay, so it supplements what we're going to do here. If you have to do anything in June, important, money, love, you know, beauty choices, anything that you have to do, the creative projects, anything important. I love the first several days of the month. We've got beautiful Venus and Jupiter trine, and then Venus trines Neptune. So that's my favorite time of the month, besides the middle of the month, the 13th, with that new moon in Gemini. We've got a little bit of challenging energy after that, like the 5th through the 7th. Logic bumping up against intuition and some challenges there. Definitely take a moment to center yourself before walking, driving, biking, etc. And try to resist the urge to text while biking or text while walking or text while driving, because this energy increases the odds of accidents. You want to be paying attention more. There's another sweet spot here in the middle of the month where I told you the new moon on the 13th. And then there's a nice aspect between Mercury and Uranus, but at the same time, there's a challenging one with Venus and Uranus. And some other challenges there in the middle of the month. We've got another sweet spot, June 19th through the 20th, when Mercury makes a trine to Jupiter. And then we have Mars going retrograde on the 26th. When a planet goes retrograde, there's a lot of awkwardness. So just look out for awkwardness around that time. Then there's the full moon in Capricorn on June 27th, and this will bring completion, fruition, accomplishment, or drama into the realms of work, career, father figures, and your place out in the world. So those are the things that are most on my mind for this month. Definitely check out my websites, anniehelpsyou.com, if you're interested in learning astrology as a profession or just for your self-development. If you'd like to be a coach, I have a coach training program. I have an astrology apprenticeship program. I also have a course called Creating Successful Online Business, where I teach you how to create an online presence and funnel it into your services that will help you to live the life that you want and not be geographically bound. If you want written horoscopes that are focusing on different areas than the videos that I make, then go to cozybysweetstarlight.com If you would like to get information about astrology travel reports that I write for each month, then go to astrologykissedtravelbliss.com. And definitely check out my husband's website, iamhelios.com, iamhelios.com, for wonderful astrology and tarot readings. He also has some really cool free offerings on his site that bring sound vibrations that you can download that help to soften the energies of the current transits. So that's something really cool he's doing. So I hope you have a wonderful month, and I'll see you next month. Bye.